book of Psalms, Psalms 145:1. It says, I will extol you, my God and King, and bless your name forever and ever. Every day, God, I will bless you, David says, and praise your name forever and ever. He says, I will not stop. He says, God, you've been so good to me. I'm going to bless you tomorrow. Matter of fact, I'm going to bless you a week from now. I'm going to bless you continuously. How many are like that in your life? That you've got a made-up mind that, God, I'm going to bless you. Any believers in the house? No matter what you're going through, God, I'm going to bless you. When the storms are raging in my life, God, I made up in my mind, I'm going to bless you. Huh? When you're going through the difficult times in your life, you got to tell the devil, you picked with the wrong one. I'm the righteous God. And I'm going to bless the Lord. I'm going to extol him. Make sure that his name is preeminent. He is number one, that there's no other God before him. He goes on to say in the 3rd verse, great is the Lord and greatly to be praised, and his greatness is unsearchable. Verse 4, one generation shall commend your works to another, and shall declare your mighty acts. Why? Because I've shared of God's goodness. I've told of his love and his mercy, that everyone is going to know who that I love, the one that I support. You may be seated in the blessings of the Lord. This year, our theme, as you know, we're building a legacy to impact generations. We want people to know God, not only to know God, but to serve him with their whole heart, mind, soul, and body, to love him. That our children know who God is and they love him. Pastor Chris, what is a legacy? Everyone has a legacy. Whether it is intentional or not, you have a legacy that you're going to leave. There are 2 types of legacies, and there's more than that. But you can leave either a good legacy or a bad legacy. You got to make up in your mind that you're going to leave a positive legacy. A legacy is what, Pastor Chris? A legacy is what you pass on. A legacy is what you pass on to the next generation. A legacy is the story of someone's life, the things that they did, the places they went, the goals they accomplished, their failures, and even more. That's what a legacy is. And so we must pray that, God, what legacy will I pass on? What legacy will people remember me by? So as God challenges us as a body of believers, that's what you've got to start to think about. When I pass, what legacy have I passed on to my children? As a matter of fact, everything you are and possess today, whether good or bad, will be passed down to those who come after you. And so God challenges you today to begin to think about your legacy. What will your family remember you by? Will they know you as a loving, kind person? Will they know you as a person of grace and laughter? Will they know you by the songs that you sing? Will they know you by how you pray? Will they know you as a mean, ugly person? Or will they know you as a joyful person that loves God? I mean, this is the legacy that we must live. As a matter of fact, I was in the barbershop on yesterday, and one of the gentlemen began to speak to me, and he says, Pastor Chris, how many years has it been since your father passed? And I said, right here, we're on about almost 6 years to when the late, great Bishop Pryor passed. It's unbelievable the time that is going by. And he began to share with me during the time that he had gone through a very difficult time. He was shot. Bishop saw him and he began to speak into his life. And I think he even blessed him financially and told him the best is yet to come in his life. And this day, this young man is saved. And he began to speak about the legacy that Bishop Pryor had spoken into his life and how he was there for him in a difficult time. I began to thank him because I began to reminisce of the goodness. I knew there were a lot of great things that he did, but you never know the people that you will impact in your life. And so as he shared with me, he began to pass down the legacy of my father. He began to speak and tell of the great things that he has done. So a legacy is not just for older people. That's what I want to challenge the young adults and the children who are here. When we talk about legacy, we're not talking about someone who is just over 40. Okay? We're talking about the importance that you're establishing a legacy at your young age. So if you're 18 right now, God has called you to do certain things. You're establishing that. The life you live is the legacy you leave. Legacy is not about the future, but legacy is about now. Okay? Legacy is about now. So what we're learning, we're passing down. That's why it's important. Wisdom is one of the few things God gives you, and he never decreases it from you. As a matter of fact, the more wisdom that you give out, the blessing that God is not a hoarder, but he is a blesser. He is not a selfish God. What a blessing it is to know that. That the more wisdom that I give out, it's one of the few things that never decreases me, it increases me. And so God begins to challenge us. They're great people who have given us quotes. Robert Lee says, wisdom is healed pain. The lessons that we have walked through, the things that we have experienced in our life, they've been our pain, but because we have been healed by it, we can share it with someone else. As a matter of fact, Peter Marshall says this: the measure of life is not its duration, but it's the donation of life. What are you giving? It's not about how many years that you live, but it's about what you give out while you are living. And so God begins to speak to every believer. He allows us to see the importance that it's about the donation of life, not the duration. Winston Churchill says, we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. So God is challenging every believer under the sound of my voice to be a giver, to understand the wisdom and the things that I've experienced in life. I am not to hoard them. I am to share them. I am to tell of God's goodness. And this is what the psalmist did in Psalms 145. He began to boast upon the Lord. You've got to brag about the Lord. You've got to tell of his goodness. You've got to tell of his mighty acts. Not only that, so that other generations can hear of God's goodness. So we were created to pass down what the Lord has given us. Legacies should inspire. Legacies should motivate people to do great things. And this is what I want to challenge us as every leader, no matter what you've done in your life, the legacy that you live should challenge us. The question is, are we really passing down the things that matter? Did you hear the question? Are we really passing down the things that matter? Are we passing down those things that can make a difference in the lives of others?